Just yesterday, I was complimenting Toyota, saying they've got one of the youngest, deepest, and most talented driver pipelines in the sport. Less than 24 hours later, they've lost their ARCA champion to Chevrolet. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove, midweek edition of the show. We've got some breaking news today. I know some of y'all hate that it's called silly season, but the name applies for cases like this, because this announcement is just silly. Jesse Love has a new home for 2024. We'll get to that in just a few moments. Real quick, in case you missed it earlier this morning, I posted my vlog from Homestead Miami Speedway. If you've never been to that track, or maybe you're considering going next year, I encourage you to check that out. It gives you a good idea of what you can expect, what the fan experience is truly like. Also, real quick, while I'm here, the weekend penalty report was released, and boy, this thing is long. I haven't had the chance to talk about it, but obviously on Saturday, Zane Smith was disqualified after crossing the finish line in second. NASCAR found an issue with their windshield supports, which was not shocking. Fans were literally tweeting at me screenshots of the broadcast where you could clearly see Zane Smith's front windshield, bowing, bending, warping in the wind. I think it was Kevin Harvick a few years ago that got busted for a similar infraction. So even if Zane Smith had pulled off the all-time clutch victory to lock into the championship four, it was getting DQ'd. Flag on the play, this thing was getting called back. He finished second, missed the championship four anyway, so not a big deal, but that was far from the only penalty teams on Saturday faced. Ty Majeski in that same race, we just found out today, has been docked 10 driver and owner points for an issue with the front suspension. This is the second significant penalty that Ty Majeski's team has been smacked with since these playoffs began. Like Zane, though, he too is already eliminated, so the ramifications aren't major. But beyond that, Ryan Newman got hit with a $10,000 fine for not wearing a head sock during practice. 2 Tricon garage trucks got fined for having loose lug nuts. Austin Hill will be without his crew chief this weekend because they had 2 lug nuts loose after the Xfinity race. Penalties. I don't typically react to the penalty report each week because usually there's not much to it, but this week, oh my gosh, it was a full-on dissertation, an essay. Seemed like anything that you could get dinged for, people were. So anyway, wanted to bring that up while I had the chance. But the focus of this video, the breaking news today, Jesse Love is heading to Richard Childress Racing next season. He will move from the ARCA Menard Series up to the NASCAR Xfinity Series and drive the number 2 car full-time. Whelen will be the primary sponsor once again. Jesse Love, talented 18-year-old kid from California, a 2-time ARCA Menards West Series champion. This past season, won 10 out of 20 ARCA Menards races to lock up that championship easily. But he's won all those races and those championships driving for Toyota. Now, he will move over to the Bowtie Brigade. He joins Chevrolet. In an official statement, Richard Childress said, quote, "We've been watching Jesse for a while now, and his breakout performance in the ARCA Menard Series was impressive this season. We know that he has the talent and determination to win races and compete for championships within RCR's NASCAR Xfinity Series program. We are looking forward to welcoming Whelen back for another year on the number 2 program and feel confident that Jesse will be a strong ambassador for Whelen." Whelen, I still don't know. You ever run into those words that how they're supposed to be pronounced, but you just can't for some reason bring yourself to pronounce them correctly? That happens to me all the time. Happens to me a lot with names like Bill McAnally Racing. I want to just say McNally, but there's an extra A in there. McAnally. It's hard. I have to really focus when saying that name. Anyway, side tangent. Richard Childress, happy to land one of Toyota's top prospects. And Jesse Love himself sounds excited about the opportunity. He said in a statement, quote, "I have so much respect for Richard Childress and am extremely grateful to be able to race and learn with one of the most successful teams in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I've dreamed of racing at the highest levels of the sport since I was a young kid, and the path to the NASCAR Cup Series seems more clear with this opportunity." That's an interesting statement. Is the path to the Cup Series more clear with RCR, really? Just looking ahead, RCR has Kyle Busch, he'll be there for a bit, and Austin Dillon, the boss's grandson, unless maybe he's considering a career change in the not-so-distant future, which he could. He's obviously very much invested in the business side of the sport. I don't see there being any openings there. Other Chevy teams like Hendrick, their lineup is set for at least the next 3 years. Trackhouse, they have too many drivers right now. There's no room there. Colleague Racing, I guess they're kind of hanging around. Spire, they've made some big moves, but I think their lineup is pretty well set. So is the path to Cup more clear with RCR and Chevrolet? That's debatable. I think the path forward with Toyota is actually more clear, although Jesse Love may not love where he would have lined up on the pecking order. You know, like Toyota's got a lot of good young drivers in the Cup Series, but they've got 2 old guys. Denny Hamlin, who will probably race for at least a couple more years. He just signed a contract extension. And Martin Truex Jr. Now, he could retire any year. Sometimes it feels like any day now. But if Truex were to retire in the near future, recent reports suggest Chandler Smith is moving back to Toyota, will join JGR. Chandler Smith would likely be the first candidate to fill that seat. So Jesse Love would probably be second, maybe even third in the pecking order at Toyota. To me, that's pretty clear, but I guess to Jesse Love's point, that may not be the answer he wants to hear. He'd rather be first, maybe second, instead of potentially third. So in that respect, maybe a move to RCR does come with a clearer path to the NASCAR Cup Series. It may just depend on what Austin Dillon wants to do in the not so distant future. Bigger picture though, Toyota is losing another top, young, talented, funded prospect. Could turn this into a drinking game at this point. It happens oh so frequently. That being said, I think Toyota will be fine. Would they have liked to keep Jesse Love in their pipeline? Absolutely, no doubt. But they'll be fine. That's assuming the reports recently are correct that Chandler Smith is coming back to Toyota. Assuming Chandler Smith, and it sounds like Sheldon Creed, will drive for JGR next year, Toyota is going to be fine. Because again, their Cup Series lineup is very young. Young and talented. I mean, Bell is in the championship 4 for the second year in a row. Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick just had their best years yet. I'm an Eric Jones believer. John Hunter's had a great year in Xfinity. And Ty Gibbs, I know a lot of y'all don't want to admit it, he's going to win next year. He's going to win a race at 21 years old. You need one guy on standby to replace Martin Truex or to sub in case of an injury, but that can be Chandler Smith. He's already got some Cup Series experience. Toyota will have Chandler Smith, presumably, Sheldon Creed, solid, Corey Heim, great Truck Series season. And they've got other young drivers in that ARCA system. Mentioned Jade Avedizian, who just won a major Extreme Outlaw Midget Series championships. Great dirt racer. Really young as well. She's 17 years old. Toyota's got a lot of great drivers that they can take their time with and develop over the next 3, 4, 5 years. They don't need to rush anyone through the system to, fill the seat of an aging Matt Kenseth or a disgruntled Kyle Busch. They can take their time with these guys. And there will be more drivers coming up behind them. Again, we could turn this into a game. How many top prospects has Toyota seen walk out the door to rival manufacturers? It happens multiple times a year at this rate. Yet there's always new ones coming in, new ones in the pipeline, filling their place. Everyone's replaceable. Sometimes that's how it feels. I don't know a ton about Jesse Love. What he did in ARCA this year, for what it's worth, was extremely impressive. He won half the races. I know ARCA isn't what it once was. That's still impressive. He's got some funding, teams like that. So losing Jesse Love hurts, but I don't think it's going to destroy Toyota's future plans. I don't think they've been sent scrambling by this. Let me put it that way. There will be someone else. And if there's not, Corey Heim looks like the real deal to me. Chandler Smith, assuming he's coming back, could be the real deal. Even Sheldon Creed hasn't won an Xfinity race yet. I do hold that against him. He's a wheelman. The raw talent and potential is there. It hurts to lose Jesse Love, no doubt, but I don't think Toyota is desperate for young talent. They will bounce back from this. And you know what? I'm speaking of Chandler Smith. He went on a sabbatical for a year, left for Colleague Racing. Reports are he's coming back. So who knows? Burned bridges can be rebuilt. Jesse Love could be back in a Toyota in 2 years. At this point, it wouldn't shock me. I won't get fooled again like I did this year with Chandler Smith. So much of the Xfinity and Truck Series these days are pay to play. You got to have at least a little bit of talent, but if you've got a big check, you can basically pick and choose which seat you want. It's interesting. It almost feels like even the biggest and best team owners don't have as much power or as much influence or as much say as the drivers who have a ton of funding. The talent still matters. There are still cases where teams will take on a driver with talent who maybe doesn't have a full season of funding. They'll piece something together because they truly believe in that driver. That does happen all the time. But if you're a driver with funding, there's no loyalty in this game. You take that funding to where you think you'll have the best opportunity to succeed. And that changes year to year. Expectations for Jesse Love next year, I expect him to make the playoffs. I know Sheldon hasn't been able to win the past couple of years. I think Jesse Love should win next year. I don't care how old you are or how much experience you have. If you drive a JRM, JGR, Stewart Haas, or RCR Xfinity car, you are expected to win. I can almost throw Colleague into that mix. I think they've slipped a tad, but if you drive for one of those four kind of super teams, we see super teams in the Cup Series, super teams in Xfinity, you should win. I don't care if you're 18 years old or 28 years old, you should win. So I expect Jesse to win next year, not 10 times, but he should win a race and make the playoffs. That's the expectation. That's the goal. Good luck to him. I'm rooting for him. I like Jesse Love. I was surprised by this news. I figured he was in the Toyota system, at least for the time being. But no, again, if you have opportunities, you go where you believe you can succeed here and now. Loyalty isn't a thing in stock car racing anymore, at least not in the lower ranks. It's just so cutthroat. You take what seat you can get because you never know if or when the next one will be available. So good luck to Jesse Love, good luck to RCR, and good luck to Toyota. I guess now they got a seat to fill in ARCA. I think Tricon Garage maybe still has a seat or two to fill. We know Corey Heim is coming back, but the rest of it is sort of up in the air. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section below. How surprised were you by this news, by this announcement? While you're down there, be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed this episode, and thank you to my Patreon supporters for your very generous support of the show. I'll be back again later this week. If you missed it, that Homestead Miami Speedway vlog is out now. You can find it probably on the side or down there somewhere, more than likely, or on my channel. Go click through, check it out. A fun recap of this past weekend's festivities. I will catch you again soon. Have a great rest of your day, folks. Thanks for watching.